Hello, everyone. It's Tommy Lee Hayes Brown with Rito Recognition. I'm happy today to introduce my colleague, Roy Saunderson. He's going to share with us some tips on how to keep your recognition ideas fresh and inspiring, which is a great topic with spring right around the corner. A lot of us are taking what we've done and developed as recognition programs and trying to, do some first quarter cleanup and inject some life into our program. So this is a very timely and topical subject. Roy is our Chief Learning Officer. He's a key recognition strategist and a global thought leader in the employee recognition space. Roy is also the author of many articles and books. He's very prolific, including his latest, Practicing Recognition, the first in his series of practical and strategic books on giving recognition the right way. Roy is a regular contributor to Training Magazine and Incentive Magazine, and was chosen as one of the 25 most influential people in the incentive industry in 2017 and 18. As one of the world's foremost thought leaders in employee recognition and engagement, Roy consults with educators and leaders and employee workforces all around the world, lending his advice and helping those organizations reach their potential.
Thanks very much, Tommy Lee, and it's good to be with everyone. Yes, I kind of came up with this topic a while ago now on how to keep your recognition ideas fresh and inspiring in order to be able to kind of look at the communications that we develop around recognition. So I hope that these ideas will benefit you and kind of stimulate some new thoughts for you on what you do in your communications around recognition. So obviously, always love to set the stage, and where do you currently get your ideas from is kind of like the question I want to pose to you. And we want recognition to happen throughout our organization on a consistent basis. And how do we renew the ideas? Where do we get that refreshing that goes on that we need so that people don't feel it's the same old, same old? All right, so we don't want that repeating of the same recognition messages that we put out. We should certainly want to encourage people to give recognition, use our recognition programs. But how do we inspire people? I think that's a word that we don't often use. We kind of go through the rote, mechanical side of communicating about the importance of recognition, and we don't necessarily capture the inspiration that's required. So let's kind of explore some ideas, will we? And let's have a look. Fresh and inspiring. I think of going to the grocery store and we get fresh vegetables, and inspiring. I want to kind of wake up motivated, and especially from a recognition point of view, I want to know how I can be motivated to give recognition, to kind of, I know I have the abilities, I can learn how to do that, but how do you motivate and encourage people to give recognition? So I have some ideas for you, and I hope you'll like them and benefit from them. The first thing I think we need to look at is creating a recognition communication plan. And in fact, this is one communication plan is the kind of the fourth strategy from Recognition Professionals International on one of their best practice standards. So they have it as a best practice standard that we should have a communication plan centered on employee recognition. And so what I want to encourage you is that you don't just create a plan willy-nilly. Let's do this and we'll throw this on the wall like spaghetti and see if it sticks. And no, we're going to have a plan here. We're going to have an overall purpose for what we want to achieve. So I want you to kind of define what it is you want to achieve with your recognition communication plan. Create a purpose statement. Write it out, articulate it, so that you and your communication team know exactly what it is that you're working on. And you need to make sure that your communications are focused on recognition practices, the offline, face-to-face, written, handwritten kind of communications, as well as your recognition programs that you want to encourage people to use. Now, next, you've got to create some goals. So it's kind of nice to have those kind of nice fancy purpose statement. It's got to be more than just fancy. It's got to be meaningful, direct. But you've also got to set some goals. What do you want to have happen through your communications? How do you want recognition to improve? How do you want people to feel? How do you want people to be motivated? How many times do you want people to give recognition? What's the frequency that you're expecting? So think about the goals you want to set, and think about how you're going to measure those activities, those communications, the success that you want. And how many communication mediums are you going to utilize to give more meaningful recognition within your organization? How can you get this across? So when you're starting to think of the big picture, you start to think a little bit more objectively of what you want to achieve and what you can realistically achieve, because not all companies, organizations have a communications team. Sometimes you're the recognition owner and you have to be the communicators. So you can't do everything. So set realistic goals about what you want to achieve, what you want to have happen, and how you're going to measure that. And one way to do this, because there's a lot to communications around recognition, is to try and create perhaps a thematic structure that will help you keep things simple, but allow the structure to help expand your thinking for ideas. Let me give you an example. With my Authentic Recognition blog, I have structured the themes that I write under being strategy, leadership, learning, recognition practices, and recognition programs. So 5 themes that I structure my content under. And what's wonderful is that you can't help but have, in a sense, a lens. I mean, I could say I have 2 lenses here on my glasses, but it's like having 5 lenses that I'm looking at the world and looking at recognition through. And so when you have that kind of organization, that category structure, it allows you to expand your opportunities for creativity. Let me give you a point. There is no new idea under the sun. Just wrote last week, for example, on culture. So culture was coming up. I get asked questions about how do you create a recognition culture. And in the beginning, I used to have presentations about creating a recognition culture. So one of my category themes is under strategy. And so I would put that under strategy. Now, over the years, I guess in the last 10 years, I've kind of refuted the idea of creating a recognition culture. Why? Well, as I've looked at it and did all the searches and continue to analyze the area, the communication field on culture, really you only need one culture, and that's your organizational culture. Yes, you need recognition practices. Yes. You need recognition programs. Yes. But you need your culture, one culture, to drive everything that you do in your organization, let alone recognition. So it's because you have these structural ideas, you have the needs that are identified, you can start looking at things differently because you've got that structure. So it becomes kind of a tool to help you create and generate ideas. So you've got your recognition plan in place. Now what I want to suggest is that you create a recognition communication calendar. Now, typically we think of cyclical events when we're thinking of calendaring, and I certainly want to support that. So obviously we've just gone through this month with Employee Appreciation Day, for example. You can use Chase's calendar of events to look up every themed category, subject idea under the sun associated almost with every day of the week, or month rather, that exists. If you want to go that far, certainly you can do that. Naturally, within your own organization, you want to calendar your service or career anniversary award celebrations or other formal award presentations that might exist. And depending on the industry you're in, you might have that profession's day or week or month. I used to be a speech language pathologist, and so May would be Communication Disorders Month, and we would have all kinds of events and communications that would go out in the month of May. Now, while I want you to keep in mind those ideas of the cyclical events, I also want to suggest that you also calendar in the recognition messaging that you need to plan out throughout the year. You want to show people what you want them to do, when you want them to do it, how you want them to do it. And that messaging and communication needs to be calendared and spread out. Because here's what happens. You'll find that some questions will come up within the organization that you can either send people back to material that you have on your actual website, or you can create new material, new articles, new content that can support people with those questions. But plotting it in throughout the year becomes a wonderful strategy so you can coordinate the kind of content, the way it's delivered, and support it. So whether it be written, audio, video, you can now kind of mesh those things in, plan them in, do batching of the creating of the content, but maybe calendaring when it's delivered to you and throughout your organization. So use all the available communication channels and understand that through your communication, you're actually providing indirect and direct education for how to give effective and meaningful recognition. I think this recognition communication calendar also becomes a powerful tool for setting expectations throughout the organization. You're kind of promoting the expectation of the organization for why we give recognition, how to give recognition, to reinforce the messages of your leaders. Create, for example, a CEO or a senior leader giving a video, for example, saying why we have the recognition programs we have, demonstrating themselves how they use the programs, how they're actively giving recognition. Having that kind of exemplary leadership is a powerful tool from your senior leaders. And I think bottom line, we need to just encourage everyone not to take each other for granted. It's simple to see, whether you say you're in a hospital, for example, and you have environmental services or housekeeping, cleaning away. What you find is that these individuals, when they go into a patient's room, for example, communicate with the patients. They are the voice from the outside. They are the connectors. They do powerful things, but we often take them for granted. I don't know about you, but we see the garbage or rubbish collector, whatever you call them, wherever you are in the world, come by your houses and whether personally lifting the garbage or rubbish bin, or whether it's the actual truck that has the system for tipping and lifting. But how often do we go and thank them? So it's encouraging everyone within our organizations not to take each other for granted and start looking for the contributions that each person makes and delivers to us.
Let's see. Sophie says, we haven't refreshed recognition in 6 or 7 years. We can probably refresh, but I'm not sure about inspiring people. I don't know if that. Well, you want to refresh, but I like how you're putting inspire too, because you're tackling this anyway, refreshing it. Let's inspire them. How do you bridge the gap between refreshing and inspiring? I think that's what she's trying to say.
I think so. And in refreshing can sometimes, you could just do a rebrand and you've refreshed.
Right.
And nobody was
going
to use the program.
Right, exactly.
We do. You mentioned spring cleaning. We do spring cleaning, but do we use the room? Do we dirty it up? All those kind of things. So, inspiring. It comes from inspire, which means to give the spirit. And I think we can be more enthusiastic. I think we can smile more. I think we need to communicate the kind of best human practices. Right. Of giving recognition. And what's wonderful is that with recognition programs, it just translates. A program is a tool to help people express recognition. So, when we've used on our webinars before, and so we encourage you to go back and look at the previous webinars we've done. Mm-hmm. when we talk about being specific with recognition rather than just saying good job or well done, these are the ways we can become more inspiring with our recognition. When we show care and concern for people, along with our regular recognition practices, that's when we're inspiring people. When we're taking time to observe what people are doing and make the time to comment on what people are doing, that's when we're inspiring. Because in a lot of cases, you'll find a lot of organizations say, you know, I've seen it. A third of their workforce says, I've not been recognized in a year. So it's just doing these little things, but doing it better. You know, there's good, there's better, and there's best. We might be good at giving recognition, but what can we do better? And if each person takes that attitude on, what can I do better? And then I'm doing better. What can I do best?
Right.
I think then you're inspiring throughout the organization.
Carol says, and I saved this one for last, Roy, I would like to recognize you for all the info I steal month after month. It's really made a difference. Thank you, sir.
Wow. Wow. Isn't that lovely?
That's really good. Thank you, Carol,
Carol,
for doing that. Yeah. And I feel the same way. I know many people do. So, you know, I'm going to piggyback off Carol's comment, and thanks for just keeping this fresh and inspiring every single time you do it, Roy, honestly.
You're welcome.
How do we contact you, Roy? If we have any other questions or maybe future topics.
So remember, we just talked about soliciting questions, ideas from people. Please email me yours at roysaunderson@redo.com. You can follow me on my Twitter handle, Roy Saunderson. And of course, as Tommy Lee mentioned, you can read more of my blog posts at authenticrecognition.com. My latest book, Practicing Recognition, which if you go to the blog and you can sign up there to get a copy. And if you want to know more about our wonderful company at Redo Recognition Solutions, certainly please visit us at redo.com. Give us a call, reach out. We can help you with your communication needs if you wish, as well as the recognition programs that we certainly support many companies with on being able to give the best recognition possible to make those recognition moments really connect with your employees, the real recognition, and give people the kind of experience they want when recognition should be given. So please reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you. Thank you again for joining with us.